I'm Dominic Grieve, former Member of Parliament for Beaconsfield and former Attorney General of England and Wales, and privileged to be one of the new co-presidents of the European movement.
And I'm Caroline Lucas, and I am a former Green Party MP representing Brighton Pavilion, and very honoured to be the other half of the two co-presidents of the European movement. We come from very different political traditions, obviously, but something we absolutely agree on is about the future of the UK in the EU.
After the referendum of 2016, there was a group of MPs who were so concerned about what was going on that we started to cooperate on a cross-party basis, and that's really how I started to get to know Caroline.
Absolutely. And I think, Dominic is someone for whom I have huge respect. He's respected right across the board. And I'm looking forward to working with him to really see if we can grow the European movement still further.
Watching one's country do something which absolutely fundamentally is going to be uniquely damaging to its well-being in the widest sense, whether it's defence, the environment, the economy, and then watching, in my case, my own party embrace this and say it was all going to be all right, I found very, very painful. As I said to Caroline, that the one compensation was actually getting to know people from other political parties with whom previously I'd really had very little contact. But overall, it was a miserable period. And quite frankly, the country has been mired in quite a lot of misery ever since, as we see the consequences of what we've done begin to play out.
But it feels to me as if there is now space for people to move into to make the case for closer relations. And I think the European movement's got a really vital role to play in that.
We know that now a significant majority of the public know that Brexit has gone wrong. Now, admittedly, some of them are still convinced it's gone wrong because it's been mishandled and they still think it was a good idea. But the realisation has dawned that, in fact, it has damaged us. Indeed, I can't think of a single advantage that we have derived from Brexit. I'm afraid it's just adding to our costs, the cost of food on our shelves, the cost of doing business with Europe. But we do face a particular challenge, which is that the political parties, certainly the mainstream parties, are very reluctant to discuss this. I'm old enough to remember the 1960s when the UK economy was effectively growing very sluggishly, and the realisation dawned that our exclusion from what was then the EEC, but is now much more important with the single market, was damaging our prospects. And it makes that small difference, but significant difference, between being successful and building wealth and prosperity and actually just treading water.
And that silence over such a big kind of elephant in the room, I think, was so clear during the budget statement, where you've got the Chancellor setting out why these are such difficult times for the UK and why there is such a kind of drain on the economy. But she does it in a way that doesn't even reference Brexit as the biggest elephant in the room. From my perspective as well, of course, one of the big things I care about is around the environment, around climate. All through the Brexit campaign, people like myself argued that there was a very real risk that if we left the EU, our environmental standards would be diluted. And that is exactly what's happened. Such an important time when it comes to environment and climate. We absolutely need to be in the forefront of ambition, not kind of trailing as we are right now.
I agree entirely with that. And of course, that's partly a product of economic circumstances. If you're getting poorer and you're not doing well economically, then you start cutting corners. You say, oh, well, I'm not going to do this because it's going to cost us immediately money without looking at the long-term benefits. So we are facing a period of great challenge. But on the optimistic side, as I say, there is, I think, a big change in public perception. The European movement itself is growing. We know that our membership has been rising consistently. And I certainly find when I go around the country and I give a lot of talks and lectures, not just to the persuaded within the EM, but elsewhere, that people are perfectly alive to the fact that the UK's taken a wrong turning. What they now need is some encouragement from within government, ideally, but if not, by an organisation such as ourselves, as to what sensible steps can be taken to try and ameliorate this. And there are lots of things which we can do.